Hello, everybody, whenever, wherever. I'm here today to make another presentation about active planetary cycles, but this time it will not be as linear because we ended in the 1850s, and for actual reason I will now go and just take some Uranus cycles from actually it's one in 1931, 1966, 1993 and 2016, where we are very new in it, and the other three we are a bit further in, right? So, but let us start, and I did this time make worksheets. That is much easier for me than these PowerPoint presentations. I'm a little bit I'm really not used to that, and it shifts around all the time, and then I cannot I have a hard time doing them. So I'm better on Word. But I won't exclude to do some more work on PowerPoint in the future. Yeah, I have to practice that a bit, right? So, but for time saving, I did it there, and it will allow me also to just copy it into the post in the end, so that on my website you have both, you have the audio, my presentation, but you also have some data which are written out then. So now I will switch over there. And as you can see, the 4 dates or years. So we have Uranus in Sedna, Uranus in Pluto, Uranus Neptune, and Uranus and Eris. So Uranus, this one here is a picture by NASA published, and yeah, so Uranus, he is the rebel and liberator, but he talks a lot about technology, is more future oriented and mental, so it's more logic, less the emotions. Let's say holistic scientific approach to things, holistic in the mean of including the non-visible or non-physical in this mean. Yeah, so we look first at his conjunction with Sedna, and she is about re-emergence, yeah, about the feminine principle, but it's also about what we have suppressed within. I mean, there may be a lot, yeah. We don't like to face our fears. We don't like, sometimes because we are so trapped in the fears, we are not ready to face the good within us, our abilities, our choice, and so on. There's a lot of things, right? So it's generally what is suppressed. She has a very long cycle, as you may remember from previous presentations. She has 11,400 years orbit around the Sun, and Uranus 84 years. And their placement as viewed from the Sun is a 10th house energy. It means it's like the most seen, it's very obvious in this way. So that conjunction was on the 14th of September, we can here look a little bit at that chart. So here, over here they are, yeah. It's 23 degrees, 2 minutes, 23 seconds, Pisces. And as you can see, Uranus is here conjunct with the star card of Pisces, and Sedna is just somewhere in the middle between Pisces and Cetus. And interestingly, we also have just Mercury here. And now look at these red thing here, right? So here we have Uranus Sedna is here in a square to Saturn and in a square to Pluto. So that makes here a T-square. So interestingly, we have Saturn and Pluto same time being here in this small triangle and pointing to down here, yeah, the grand trine, and here some sextile aspects, making it, like I call it, the pyramid, but it's usually called a kite. And we have the same the other way around, yeah, and here it's pointed to here. But you can also look at it like a diamond, like pyramid, whatever. It doesn't really matter so much. It's more about the energy, right? So we have grand trine, which means a lot of harmonic energy, yeah, it plays together on both sides. But you see here is the line missing, otherwise we would have a Merkaba, and that would include a mystic rectangle, voila. So, or envelope as it's called. So it's, let's say, everything is open. Every possibility is there. It's there to become very, very beautiful, but also the other way around. It's what we choose where to go, right? In that time, it was difficult, right? It was Great Recession, there was all the happenings that led up to the Second World War. So it was a choice point. It has taught us a lot, and that's what the two also are about, yeah? Or the whole time that we look at things not only in the obvious way, but a little bit deeper down, what they want to tell us. We can't change the past in this way, but we can change the perception of it. So to look at things in a more scientific way, yeah, cool-minded, yeah, that helps, and it can liberate that Pluto here, the transformation, as well as Saturn with his structures, yeah. So we do all in one go, if you want. So we have a lot of energy with Pluto and Saturn, which are talking about the vibration. Yeah, it's like the tone that makes the music, right? Always interesting, as we also deal with the big overlays of the crosses, with the ages and all of these things, right? With the big shift from today's perspective. Most of us were not aware of that probably in 1931, but we are now. So we have to look at Neptune all the time, because he's the ruler of the age, if you want. And so He is here in Leo, which is what we give up, we shine out, right, in this way. But we have the transcending energy there, right? We should transcend and look through the veils, through what is so obvious, and look down to it, what is the truth of it all. And that's because his aphelion perihelion axis in that time was at 20 degrees Scorpio Taurus. That was the axis. So it's about what we have, what we see, the physical, if you want, and we have the deep down, which is hidden, right? And that's also what Sedna is talking about. And we have to liberate that. We have to liberate what is hidden. And interestingly, we also had that in 2019, Chariklo is approaching Pluto. So when we had all these Pluto, Saturn, Jupiter conjunctions in 2019, in 2020, there was also Chariklo again. And Chariklo is more about like the, let's say, discernment and shelter and where we feel safe. That is one thing, but we also have to discern what is actually good for us, or what does have potential. Let's say like this, where is potentiality for something, yeah? We don't want to focus and put our energy into something that we know from the beginning that it will lead nowhere. So, and she is approaching Pluto. Yeah, pretty significant if you look at the whole thing and the times then. So, very important cycle. If you think back about the history of that time, but also what really happened in that time. You know, it was not only the negative. There was a lot of things going on, and there were these opportunities like Gandhi. Yeah? I mean, it was in 1930 that he started his civil disobedience, and it was done in a totally different way. Yeah, not like we usually did over centuries and millennia. Yeah, it is just this war thing. Yeah, but on the other side, the problem is when we suppress everything within us and then we are triggered, it comes out boom, right? We all have Mars somewhere, we all have that warriors thing somewhere, and so we whoosh, no? Right? And often it comes out in a way that we might feel sorry later, right? But if we actually do the work and look at those things and where are they coming from, why are we having this aggressive feeling, or yeah, it's a how to say, it's like the inner cell phone, like I like to call it that way, right? So if you feel such aggression or something about whatever, it says there is something underlaying it. And if we don't deal with it, it will become bigger and bigger. So you see, I found that very interesting, you know, that Albert Einstein, I mean, his theory did put the foundation down for what what we see now in quantum physics, yeah. So okay, I know it's easy to look at the things in retro perspective because we we actually know what has happened, but it's exactly the theme, right? We have to look what had happened and where did it lead to, what had any potential, and what actually was more destructive. Yeah. So here we have a few things that I thought very interesting. Also, that the movies Dracula and Frankenstein, they were both showed the first time in 1931. So there were people who were dealing with these dark, shadowy themes, yeah, which is, but most of the time we look at those just only as some form of entertainment, yeah. And also Salvador Dali, yeah, also a figure of that time. Persistence of memory. There's the C, right? No, you know, anyhow. And there was the Kreditanstalt of Austria went bankrupt. That's bank. And it was what then later on led to the worldwide financial meltdown, yeah. And there were all kind of trials and and figuring out how to deal with it. And you see, it's like we are in a time loop, right? Do you remember I talked about the Eris Sedna cycle, which couldn't conjunct again, but now are traveling kind of back. So for us, that we can in the end go that last quarter again, or almost last quarter, because the last quarter of a cycle, it includes the seeding. So now we have to see what we did in order that we can later on seed anew. But we have to deal with it all. That's what it means. We have to deal with it all. That's why we are in kind of this time loop. And I mean, when you think about just like those times after the First World War and to the Second World War, we tried. Many people tried, but as a collective, we couldn't. But we learned a lot. That's what we know from the end of the last century and until today. We are not the same collective anymore because we learned something. But we still we carry a lot of emotional trauma within us because of those times, and we have to clear that out in order for us to see clear what we want to keep and what not, and if there are not other options. And we have all there, right? The future may be very different, because even though it looks like we do all the same again, it won't happen, because it's very different this time, because we have worked, we have advanced, maybe not emotionally, but we have advanced in other ways, and because of that we are now ready to also face everything on the emotional level. So, yeah, Pluto, as I said, he is the transformer. He is the phoenix rising. And like I like to mention, yeah, Doctor Who's TARDIS, yeah, it's bigger in the inside than in the outside. So, and don't tell me you don't understand that. So, they met on 8th of January 1966. Pluto has a 248-year cycle or orbit, and they are in third house energy. It's a bit like Mercury, yeah. And the axis is ninth house. That's more like Jupiter, like a little bit the broader one, yeah. Broader view and the local view, yeah. So if it's like about travels, then it would be third house would be more like short travels, short distances, and Sag would be going abroad, further out, and the universe, right? So, yeah, one is local and one is more further out, the higher view. But, you know, we need the third house to anchor in it. So, here we don't have so much going on, but we also have a grand trine, but it's not directly here closed, so it's kind of open, yeah. We have the grand trine, and the two here, Uranus and Pluto, at 22 degrees Leo. You can see here that's the hint pole where Uranus stands, and Pluto is here just above the tail. In opposition, we have Saturn again, right? So it's really needs integrating, yeah. And Juno, one-to-one relationships, and Chiron, that is self-mastery, the wounded healer, so, and surrender. That's the way to surrender. And so the three are in conjunction and in opposition to this Uranus-Pluto conjunction. I mean, you know, we always have the same few degrees, right? When I do readings, not the individual ones, but with all these cycles, there are a few positions, they come up all the time. It's amazing. So really big tasks there, right? And so Neptune, you can see, in conjunction with Mercury here in late Libra, means really in Libra, but as you know from other posts and presentations, it's also the claws of the Scorpion, yeah. It's always about judgment, about the scale, finding the balance, the harmony, right? But it's in a broader sense too. It's not about our local justice system alone, but when Mercury is here, sure, it does have something to do with that too, but it's really, it's this balancing act within as well, yeah. And to, let's say, the self-judgment, yeah, that is a big problem we have, right? we not only judge others, but we also judge ourselves. We tell us, yeah, you're stupid, why did you do this, why did you do that, also to yourself, right? Or you feel like you have to be a perfectionist, yeah? You cannot allow yourself to make a mistake, or you feel like you have to, you don't deserve anything, or you have to, I don't know, you have to work very hard all the time and to get anything, and because of that, you put yourself down. I don't say we shall not work, yeah? Don't misunderstand me. But what do we perceive as work, yeah? We also have Capricorn here. How do we structure, yeah? Are we doing something we love to do? Then it is not hard, right? If we do something that we feel is very, it's weighing on us and it's heavy, and of course, then we may perceive that as real work, as hard work, but it doesn't need to be, right? It's the own perception and what we do. Is it something we like to do or not? So, Uranus and Pluto, they are talking a lot about in Leo. Leo is about that sun. It's shining out. It's coming out, right? From the depths of self, right? And what do we shine out? So, and then what we shine out, it is also making the structures, right? And it's this vibrational thing, right? If we put out only these judgmental thoughts about ourselves and about everything around us, then we will structure the world accordingly. It goes back and forth, right? So, but here at this longitude here, we have south here, we would have the Argonavis, yeah, the ship. And there would be the sails here, yeah. So it is windy, yeah. It is a lot about, it is force, right? We have Pluto is also very, very powerful, yeah. So we have this mental force, we have this energy of going forwards, we have the sail blowing full, and we can go, yeah. But if we fill it up with a lot of doubts and things and so on, that sail will crumble down and you don't go anywhere, right? So that's the thing. And you see here Earth in Gemini, yeah. So you see Gemini, Mercury and third house, that is belongs together. It's similar energies, yeah, just looked at from different perspectives. So we have Earth, our grounding. As I said before, we have to ground it into the Earth, right? We have to bring it down into the physical realms, into worldly affairs, if you want. If we only stay in above there somewhere and we don't anchor it down, it doesn't bring us anything. We have to bring the dreams to reality, and not only dreaming. Bring it down. Bring heaven to earth. So we have now in this last month now of 2021, we are about 106 to 107 degrees into the cycle, yeah. Whereas Uranus with Sedna will already end in 2026. So here we are at the end, yeah, wrapping that thing up, getting over it, dissolving it. And because we have dealt with it, we have seen it, and so we go into the new. We are seeding. We are not in the new yet, but we are seeding. So when we start new in 2026, something can start sprouting. So that's how to look at it. And so here with Uranus and Pluto, we are not so far in yet. It just started in 1996, yeah, and because they have together, it goes about what was it, 130, 140, it depends, yeah, years at that. There we are in the same cycle. So we have done almost the first third. But it's the creative half we are in, yeah. So it is, we have already passed the first square. So we have some ideas, we have some plans, and it just goes, yeah, it's more really forward, it's creative. It's not in the end phase, it's in the building, right? And when we look at the history of 1966, yeah, it was the start of the flower power time. We had in those times we had the moon landing. We have the pill was developed. It was yeah, the cellular learning and memory was observed, yeah. So we have cell memory. So don't forget that. And the first artificial heart was put into a person at the Houston, Texas hospital. So, and it started with video games and all these kind of things, yeah. If that was so good, I don't know, but for sure, I remember those with the tennis thing, right? So yeah, it was pretty fun, and but the people were not as addicted to some of those things as some maybe today. So, as you see, it was the start, and where do we stand now? Yeah, since 66 and today. I mean, when I remember, okay, I wasn't born yet in 66, but I'm born 1970. So when I compare what we had in those times and how we lived and nowadays, I mean, that is completely different, right? We have all these new technologies, and am I happy about, so I can talk with all of you. So that is wonderful. And now that we are so far, we can also bring it into our own biology, not with technology, but with reactivating our own technology that we already have. We just only have to reactivate it, and that's it. And so here we have Neptune with the next of those 4 conjunctions. And Neptune, as I mentioned, he is the ruler of the age and of this shift. And he is about all liquids. It's about spirituality, but most of all it's about gaining clarity, taking those veils away, that which makes us being blinded, yeah. So that is most important, yeah. And that includes to break open our hearts, right? Yeah, still, we can have boundaries. It's not about that, but it's about giving that space as well. Oh, and yeah, 7th house energy. So that is like descendant, ascendant as and descendant. So that was on 20th of April 1993. So we have here in late Sagittarius, yeah, 24 degrees, 21 minutes, 27 seconds of Sag. And up here somewhere would be Lyra with the star Vega, and but also over the cusp here we have Aquila, the eagle, with Altair is over here at around 5 degrees where Mercury stands. So but interestingly, we have at around 25 degrees, we have Pluto's south node. You know, in the other chart we also had their Pluto's nodal axis involved, but also Saturn's. Saturn's is about that around 28 degrees, and Pluto's at 25. And so it's always an axis, yeah. This one here is the south node and the north node in Gemini, which is most seen. It's in the earthly realms, yeah, in the physical realms. And here is the ideals, and yeah, that's the origin, yeah. Here we bring out, yeah, so that is the intention, and here we have what we can see, the purpose, the manifesting. So and we have both of them during this conjunction in last square to Eris, because Eris is much slower moving, yeah. She has about the 557 year cycle or orbit, and Uranus the 84 and Neptune 167. So this square here and here over here to Earth. Yeah, that is not really square, but yeah. So this square here is very important. Yeah, because we we have seen all these cycles of Neptune, but also Pluto, and with Eris and with Sedna. Yeah, the two. It's very very important because the two here, Eris and Sedna, yeah, they are the two slowest moving that we know by now. Yeah, there may be much more, but we don't know. They are not in our conscious so long yet. We were not aware of them in the 13th century when they started their cycle together. Yeah, and so now you can see they are pretty apart here in 1993. Now Sedna is already over here and Eris is still here because Eris is at her aphelion. Yeah, so this energy, this is included, yeah, within that conjunction. And again, it is Sagittarius Gemini is about the vibrations, yeah, the sound that makes the music, right? So, or the tone, yeah, it needs many of them, yeah, but it makes the wave, it makes the vibration, yeah, that is put into the water. Yeah, if you have ever seen the experiments with water and water crystals and all these kind of things, when you talk to water it will react. And so what do we have? Cells, right? We have cell memory. Yeah, so what we put into us or vibrationally will resonate, will cause a resonance in our cell water. So yeah, and then what will it make? Have you ever seen the experiments they made with rice? There was rice in water, and they had different jars, and to one of them they only said nice things, yeah, and to another one they only said bad things, and the last one they just simply ignored. So after some time, I forgot how long it was only the one that was fed with nice attention, with appreciation, and that was white and yeah, has, you can eat that. So the other one, it was totally black, yeah, it has been rotten. And the other one, which was the ignored one, it was just like it has become mold. Yeah, so yeah, and now imagine the rice is your body. Yeah, so yeah, there it is. That's what happens within ourselves. And as we have to include the non-visible also in the technology and in science, and having this holistic approach, right? We see that now more and more in quantum physics. Yeah, they have figured things out. It is absolutely amazing. including actual proof for the so-called universal laws. And so I found it very funny when I read this, yeah. Neptune being about the spiritual, yeah, and we have Uranus here as the scientist, yeah, and the liberator. And so in the 1960s, yeah, so it means during the Uranus-Pluto conjunction, it was in that time that some scientists have started working on some projects and had some theories, and they tried to figure more out, yeah. And this was then released in a book in 1993, and that was called The Gold Particle. This nickname is still used by some, but the official name is a Higgs boson. Gold particle is easier to remember, I think. So this Higgs boson was then in an experiment at CERN in 2012, 2013, its existence was proved, and also that it reacted in the way that was described that it has to be, yeah. But so, but you see, it's very funny when we know on a higher level, on with the universal laws, how this all happens, what we believe, what we focus on, and that will happen. So when they say there has to be such a thing, and they believe into it, and they focus on it, and that, they will find it. It has to be there because they are creating it. So, but do you remember that that picture? It went around the world, yeah. That you had Bill Clinton in the middle, and then you had Arafat on this side, and Rabin on this side, and they shook hands, yeah, because they made a peace agreement. So it was very interesting. I remember that picture, but I could not have told you which year it was. So yeah, it was in 1993. So yeah, and PDF format, Acrobat Reader was invented, and there was a space shuttle launch to go to repair the Hubble Space Telescope. So that was just, a few things that I picked out. And so, yeah, we will be in that for some more time, yeah? As you can see, in 2164, they will meet again. So, now we're in roughly the first 51 degrees into the new cycle, so we already know about it, yeah, we see the theme. But we are just still in the growing phase. We are not, yeah, we have sprouted, we have to come out, and so it needs some force and so on to break through those veils, or through the heaviness, yeah, to go to, yeah, it takes some force. It's not an inactive time, absolutely not. It is yeah, and it's in the growing, it's in the first half, yeah, so it's not the ending and going into winter sleep or something. No, it is more like spring energy. Yeah, we come out. So that's where we in this cycle. So when we look at their theme, yeah, about the inner technology that has to be liberated, yeah, and so when we look at the last few decades, yeah, I mean, yoga, meditation, and all kinds of alternative medicine, which includes energetics and so on, that's all much more out there, and it has exploded in the last few years, right? And it's really, people get more into their diets and what they want to eat and what not, and what is good and what is beneficial for each of us. Yeah, we are all a little bit different, so we have to feed us with different things. Yeah, so that has changed a lot, and it is coming out more and more and more. And also the different spiritual teachers and psychics and all these things are also more accepted to talk about. I mean, 30 years ago or 40 years ago, you didn't talk about these things, but now it's totally common. So there has changed a lot, and it's going on and on. And that's why I always say there is nobody is doomed, and we are not going to repeat what had happened before. We are not going to make another loop in history because of all of this. It's just not possible, because there are too many, and children have been born in the newer energies. Yeah, they're not all so old like me or older than me. No, there are many, many younger, and they embody those energies already, where we older ones have to still finish up the old and finding our way into the new. But they are already there. So when I say that we have to finishing up, it means within. Because we have to clear that for others, for the newer generations. So we have to put that garbage away so that we don't load it onto the next generations. That's what we have to do. And same time also being in the new. That's, yeah, it sounds paradox, but it isn't. We just have now the tools to do so, more available than they were before. Now, 2016, we had the big conjunction between Uranus and Eris. Again, 10th house energy, and interestingly, here at 27, almost 28 degrees of Pisces, and 1931, the Uranus Sedna conjunction was at 23 degrees, 23 something. So this is no coincidence either, right? So, and they are here in opposition with Haumea in Virgo, late Virgo, yeah, conjoining Arcturus. You could see that. I mean, yeah, you could see Arcturus very bright. I don't think I was able to see Haumea, you couldn't really, but it was Arcturus was very bright in that time, and for some more years, and still now she's now a little bit on the other side. So it's Haumea is like a midwife energy, yeah, birthing, helping to birth something new, yeah. So and Uranus, as we know, the scientific approach, yeah, liberator, rebellion, Eris. She is the eye opener, the disruption that shows us what is reality, what is real. And so, standing in the sign that talks about past, it talks about here, Cetus, yeah, over the two signs, so don't blame Pisces all the time for dark ages, yeah, it's the collective, yeah. So, and it's fed in Aries and not in Pisces. So, this is important, yeah, as everything. So, the birth and reality. So, rebirth to see our reality, how is it really? And then from there, when we liberate that, we can build the new reality, yeah? When we always check, so where are we now? We don't need to go back and being lost like we were for so long, right? So, but always, as I said before, when we are in so betweens, when things come out, when we have to face things, and if we do that in an emotional way, it will not help at all. But if we take it, we examine it in a more scientific approach, in a more mindful way, and not in a judgmental, emotional state, then everything goes fine. But that's a bit of the challenge, right? And we see that also here with the Pluto Venus square, yeah. We also see that with the Pluto Vesta opposition, yeah. So devotion is needed, yeah. Voila. So, and we have here Mercury and Chiron. So, the wounded healer, the self-mastery, and combined with Mercury, also more the logic mind, but the fast one, yeah, he is the God's messenger, right? It goes all fast. And so he is in conjunction here with Chiron. In late Pisces, late Aquarius and late Pisces, what did I say before? Same few regions all the time. So, and Earth, Taurus, Saturn, talking about the same, yeah, Ophiuchus over Scorpio. So, we have to allow to heal ourselves. We have to. But in a way that makes the flow, yeah, that within. Yeah, as I said before about that experiment, yeah, it's about getting all of that into flow. Yeah, if we have blood clots or whatever, yeah, then there is no flow, right? So we have to make it flow. But how do we make it flow? With our mind, with our thoughts, with our emotions. But how do we create the emotions? It a lot comes only from the past. And so we have to look at them. We have to, yeah, if we feel still afraid of something that had happened in the past and that you physically already resolved, why do you keep the fear of it? It doesn't make any sense, right? So away with it, and then you're free, you're liberated, and you can go with the new flow. But if you cling to those things, there's, yeah, there you make only blockages. That's normal, right? But we also have the theme about the boundaries we set on ourselves, right? It is like when we have a nice, beautiful experience, right? Then we also cling to it, in the meaning we want to repeat it all the time. But then we same time when we focus only on this, we leave every other possibility out. So we limit ourselves. So, and that's also the way how any kind of addiction is created, right? And no, I'm a smoker, so I'm not free of any addictions. But yeah, I'm working on it. So, but it's not only such stuff, yeah, it's also about what you yeah, if you go to same place all the time because you had a great time there a few times, but then you never go anywhere else. You always go to the same place for holiday. You always I don't know, go to the same restaurant for dinner. You always I don't know, you may watch the same movie every now and then. Yeah, whatever, it's just like if it's always the same, or trying to recreate the same thing because you had a good feeling, then we are limiting ourselves. So yeah, and they are showing us that with the past. Look at the past. Everywhere we have it all the time, yeah, because Eris is so slow. We have that theme in every single chart, and we will have it for some more years, yeah. But then Eris will move over into the Aries side, and here the upward swimming fish, and here Alriska as the alpha star of Pisces, of the constellation Pisces, and upward swimming, it is, yeah, future, yeah. It's not Aries energy, it's actually Pisces energy, the upward swimming fish. So that's what it is. So, and this very new 2016, what happened in 2016, yeah, I had to think about the only thing that I actually remembered that it was in 2016 was the American elections, yeah, because it was the whole theme all around the world. Yeah, but did you know it was in 2016 that Proxima Centauri b was discovered? It's the closest, or so far closest, exoplanet to Earth. So, and very good when it comes to technology, yeah? The Swiss Solar Impulse 2 was in 2016 the first solar powered aircraft to circumnavigate the Earth. Then there was this strange thing. I have never understood what that really was about, and I still don't. This was this Pokemon Go thing that kept people busy, yeah. But it was in that same year was actually that scandal which came out about, it's called the Panama Papers. It was about many people were involved in these offshore investments, yeah, and so all these papers were published and all the names and so on. So that is all the Panama Papers scandal, yeah, and Eris energy, yeah, it's revealing, yeah, seeing the reality. It means revealing, right? Revelations. So, and very interesting, I thought, when I always have to make that thing back to Sedna and Eris, yeah, that their conjunction in the 13th century, and that cycle we are still in, yeah, and being in that time loop, so to speak, yeah. It was the leaders of the Catholic Church and the Eastern Orthodox Church. They did meet and made an ecumenical declaration signed during that meeting, and it was the first meeting between the two leaders of those two churches since the schism in 1054. So almost 1,000 years. Unbelievable. Huh. So, you see, there is always a lot going on, and it's interesting to look at the history and remember those things, because mostly we don't. We may remember what we did personally and maybe some major things, but other things, they just like okay, it's somewhere lost. And so when we take these things up and we see how much good things actually happened, then we may change a bit our viewpoint, and with that our vibration. So, and I think that's a good way to end, yeah, with the change of vibration, right? We want to live the new, and a vibration that is beneficial to all of us, right? And from our hearts, and with all that we are, and not with that we think we have made ourselves into. And we are organic, right? And so that's what we live from our hearts in all organism, the whole thing, in all dimensions. And so with that, I close for today. It was very long, I know, but yeah, it were 4 cycles, right? So I wish you all the best, and I see you next time.